Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome to Lady Khadija radiyallahu anha. May God be pleased with her online college. Carrying on with A-Level Maths, Year 1, Pure Maths. And today's topic is expanding triple brackets. So let me explain the principle first. Let me begin with just the basic principle, which is that when we are multiplying three numbers, then the order does not matter. And the best technique is normally to just pick a pair. So let's take the first two, work out the answer. 4 times 5 is 20, and then work from there. So now that the first two are done, you can say, okay, let me take that answer for the first two, which is 20, and then times by the third number. So 20 times 2 would be 40. Notice we don't try to do everything all in one go, but we just pick a pair to start off with. Could be any pair, could be the first pair, could be the last pair, any two would work. And then you bring in that third multiplication. So similarly today in the examples we're going to look at, but this time with brackets. So let me write the first example, just one moment. So this one is y times 2y plus 3 times y minus 7. So here we've got three numbers being times by each other. The first number is y, the second number is 2y plus 3, and the third number is y minus 7. So we can pick any two we like to start off with. It could be the first two, it could be the last two, it could be any other two. In this case, it's probably easier just to go in order. So I'm going to pick the first two and I'm going to multiply out those two brackets. So, sorry, those two terms. So y times 2y, that's 2y squared. And then we have y times 3, which is 3y, so plus 3y. That's the answer to the first two terms multiplied. So now the idea is to take that answer, all of that answer, so I'm going to put it in brackets, and now times by the third term, so that's the y minus 7. So you can see if you do it this way, then it ends up just being double brackets. So you're doing two terms together here, and then you end up with multiplying double brackets here. So let's do this using the same technique that we learned yesterday, focusing on the 2y squared. 2y squared times the y would be 2y cubed. Keeping the focus on the 2y squared, we then times that by the minus 7. 2y squared times minus 7. That's the 2y squared done. If you want, we can tick it off at this point just to make sure that we don't repeat that. So now we move on to the focus is 3y. 3y times the y, that would be plus 3y squared. And then finish off 3y times the minus 7, that's minus 21y. Always good practice just to have a look, scan through. Is there anything that can be simplified a little bit? 2y cubed is good. Minus 14y squared plus 3y squared, that can be simplified. Think about what that simplifies to. Should be minus 11y squared. So let's write minus 11y squared. And that's your final answer, 2y cubed minus 11y squared minus 21y. Let's just watch that again in slow motion as we just repeat that. So remember the key principle is just pick a pair. So we pick the first pair, multiply that out, and then once you've got the answer, always try to, once you do the multiplication, always try to just check, is there anything I can simplify? The more simpler that is, the better it'll be, the easier the rest will be. So now bring in the third term, so timesing by the y minus 7, then use the technique of multiplying out double brackets. Multiply out everything and then simplify. Okay, let's try that on a slightly harder one. So this time we have a couple of terms, a couple of brackets, actually triple brackets. So we have y minus 4, y plus 3, y plus 1. Okay, so again, I'm just going to pick the first pair. I don't have to pick the first pair, but it's just easier just to go in the order that it's set. So that's going to work out to be y squared minus 4y. Sorry, let me just keep the focus. So the focus is on the y. So y times y is y squared. That's these two. Y times the plus 3 is plus 3y. Tick that one off. Now focus is on the minus 4. So minus 4 times the y is minus 4y. Minus 4 times the 3 is plus 12. Here you can see the middle bit can be simplified. So do the simplification as soon as you spot it. That can be minus 1y. And then just bring it close, because now what we're going to do is we're going to put brackets around it, and we are now going to bring in the third bracket, which is the y plus 1. Okay, and then using the technique from yesterday, this is why the technique from the previous lesson is so important. We are going to focus on the y squared. Imagine everything else was covered up. So if you remember the technique from yesterday, we're imagining everything else is covered up in that first bracket, just leaving one thing visible. So that y squared, keep your focus on that, and we're timesing into the second bracket. So that would be y squared times y, which is y cubed. Keep your focus here, y squared times the plus 1, that's plus 1y. We can tick that off now. So now we move our focus onto the minus 1y. Times those two, and that would be minus 1y squared. Keep focus on this, minus until everything is done. Minus 1y times the 1, which is plus 1y. And that's all done. So final focus is on the 12. 12 times the y. That would be 12y. And then 12 times the 1, which is plus 12. Take a look, see if there's anything that can be simplified. Should be quite a lot. We've got plus 1y, plus 1y, plus 12y. And if we simplify all of that, that should be plus 14y. So let's just take that through. And just try to see after the plus 14y, is there anything else that can be simplified? And the answer is no. So we can just leave it as that. So we have y cubed minus 1y squared plus 14y. You can check your answer by substituting in any value you like for y into the original equation. And if you substitute in any value you like into the original equation, and then substitute the same value into this, you should end up with the same answer both times. So just to double check, let's check with y equals 1. That's a simple one to go for. Just be careful, because you don't want to choose something that's going to end up with 0. So here y is 1, so that would be minus 3 times 4 times 2. So minus 3 times 4 times 2, and that is going to be minus 24. And then if we substitute y is equal to 1 into here, that's going to be 1, take away 1, plus 14, plus 12. And that is going to be, that's going to be 0, plus 14 times 1 is going to be 14. 14 plus 12 is 26. So you can see something has gone wrong there. So let's just track back a little bit. And what we'll find is that this plus 12 should have really been a minus 12. So minus 4 times the 3 is minus 12. So that sign needs to change. So you can see how useful it is just to do that check. So let's change that into minus, correct that into a minus. and hopefully no other mistake, and then that means the last line is going to change. Y cubed minus 1y squared, they can stay the same, but that would be minus 12y. So we're not going to end up with the last bit. So let's just recalculate the y. We're going to get minus 12y. We'll get minus 1y. And there should have been one more. That's going to be minus 1y, minus 12y, and that's going to be a plus 12. So minus 12 times the 1 is plus 12. Plus 12 was wrong, so that should be minus 12 times 1 is minus 12. And just check if there's any other mistake. That looks fine. So that should be minus 13y. And I'm just going to pause there just to make sure that is absolutely correct. Y cubed plus y squared. No, let me start again. Y cubed plus y squared, so that is a plus. And then we've got minus 1y squared. Then we've got minus 1y, minus 12y, and minus 12. So that looks pretty good now. So that's all correct. So very important to just go through that again. Let's do the simplification. Plus 1y squared minus 1y squared. That can cancel out. Then you've got minus 12y minus 1y, and that can become minus 13y. Okay, let's see how that works out. So we've got substituting in again. We've got y is equal to 1. So substituting into the original, we still get minus 24. And let's see what happens here. We've got 1 cubed is 1. Take away 13, take away 12. And that works out to be minus 24. So because both are the same, you can be confident that your final answer here is correct. And that is multiplying out triple brackets. So you can see the first technique is really helpful, just multiplying two of the brackets, and then just make sure you do not make any mistake. You can see that just making a mistake early on can lead you to more mistakes later on. So very important to check at the end and do this twice if you have to. That's it for today's lesson. See you next time for more on simplifying algebra. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.